Hello, my name is Paul-Beckett, and today I wanted to talk about happiness. And that probably seems like a really broad topic and something that I definitely thought I understood before my self-realization. I thought I understood happiness, and I thought that the point to life was to kind of pursue happiness, to chase happiness, because it was an elusive thing. It was something that I was able to kind of grab sometimes and not others. It was something that I was always looking for. And it was something that was external to me. It was happiness wasn't something I made myself. It wasn't homegrown. It was kind of acquired. And it was acquired through certain situations or I don't know, possessions or, things like that. So I thought I understood happiness until I realized my true nature. And I realized the joy that was always in me. The joy that was always in me that I was spending so much effort to suppress. And the joy that was always in me that I was really spending so much effort to ignore in certain situations. Sometimes I would use all of my energy to convince myself that it was a rubbish day. I would use all of my energy to convince myself that this was wrong and that was wrong, and just always looking at the negative space, never seeing what was truly there. So, what's different? You might think, oh, good for you, bully for you. You've realized your true nature. Now you've got kind of this joy, right? I didn't acquire it. I became aware of its presence. And then I became aware that it was never not there. All it took was for me to notice it, to notice that this joyful feeling was my default mode. But of course, we're trained, we're conditioned by the world in exactly the opposite. Like joy and happiness is something we strive for. It's something to be achieved, and it's something to be grabbed externally and kind of claimed as your own. So why do I feel different now then? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I realized my connection. I think the reason we look outside of ourselves is because of the belief in separation, is because of the conditioning of our world, is because of the ego character that we've built up that's told itself it's not enough. Because guess what? It's not enough. It's made up. It will never be enough. You can, I mean, look at, how can you be a billionaire and still be unhappy? Do you know what I mean? So once I realized my connection to everything, my connection to everyone, once I realized that everything basically was me, I was everything. Of course, I'm still here. I'm still, apparently in this body, and I'm still going ahead with whole storyline. My belief changed, and with just that slight, it's not a conceptual belief, it's a knowing. It's a difference between being told about a meal and how it might taste to tasting it yourself. Um, that's just that slight change. And when I knew it to be true, changed everything. I just this feeling of joy in me, this feeling of relief. Oh God, relief. I'm not this separate little vulnerable thing that has no point. I'm not just an animal on this planet trying to get where I can and with the limited time that I have, just to then be gone, blip, a little light and then switched out. Um, I'm not going to die. I've never died. It seemed like I have probably about a million times throughout every incarnation that I've took where I've just not saw the truth. But also my loved ones aren't going to die because we don't really have a mother-son relationship with one. Does that make sense? Like that kind of thing. I know it sounds wild. And I know that whatever I say, if you want to be argumentative then you can be. Well, you're telling me that, but I've got this, chronically sick relative that, and I feel it for you. I feel it for you because I know what fear feels like. I know what hopelessness feels like. But by the other side of the coin, I know what joy is. And I just know it to be the most natural state of being. Okay, so a few things I've noticed. I've said this a million times, but I feel like I could never say it enough because it's so diametrically opposite to the way we've been conditioned by the world, that to give is to receive. Giving and receiving is completely simultaneous. So how do I how do I how do I know what I am? I know what I am by giving it. Giving is proof of having. So when I show kindness, when I show compassion, I prove myself to be kind and compassionate. And guess what? My kindness and my compassion grows. The more I give, the bigger it gets. And it sounds wild, and it sounds like, I know that if someone told me this 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh yes, very good. Do you know what I mean? I'd only go, that sounds ridiculous. But I'm living it. And I can only tell you my lived experience. I'm not sitting here quoting from books. I'm not sitting here having received a big spiritual training or religious education. I'm speaking from my lived experience. And it's funny, when I realized my true nature, obviously I didn't know it even happened to another human being. I didn't have words for it. So it meant when I did find out, when that information came to me, I was like, God, this is real. This is so, I knew it was real. But I was like, this is happening. This has been happening since the dawn of time. And it's happened to me word for word of what I'm reading about, watching videos about. It's happening for these other people. So, but when I realized it wasn't an achievement. It wasn't oh, now I'm above. It wasn't a hierarchical thing. It was a taking off. And I know I've said this before as well, but you know what? I'll keep on telling you the same things because they are the truth. Okay, I'll keep on telling you it until you realize yourself, because that's why I make these videos. I don't make these videos to boast about what's happened for me. I don't even believe there is a me anymore. Do you know what I mean? I make these videos to make it plain and clear that this is what's meant for you. There's no barrier. The only barriers, the only limitations are the ones you set upon yourself. Okay? And we have been trained to build them high. We've been trained to wear blinkers. We've been trained to look but never find. Okay? And it is so close. It's so close. It's here. It's never not been here. How can you gain something that you always wear? You always wear, but you're just like suffering from like an amnesia. Like you're playing a little game of mistaken identity. And that's why it's funny. I know from my own self-realization, God, I laughed, I cried as well. But I laughed because it is such a huge joke. And it's something that when I've spoke to other self-realized people, when I've watched other things online, it's something a lot of people seem to have. It seems like the biggest gag ever because it was never not there. You were never not this. You were just pretending you weren't. But after pretending and pretending, the pretending was so real that it seemed realer to you than reality. So it's a taking off. It's a shedding of what you never were. It's a letting go of like the limited ideas that you've told yourself and thought had to be true. And we've looked around and we've confirmed it because that's what everyone else thinks too. So it must be true. And if it can feel like, well, why would I swim against the stream, until you realize that everybody else is one of my, I'm stealing this saying, by the way, this is not mine. My friend said this to me yesterday. She said all her life she felt like she was swimming against the current until she realized that everybody else was, and she was doing her best to go the right way. But because the traffic was so heavy coming the other way, it felt, oh, to her, you know. And that's so true. That's so true. The world is upside down. We've made so many innocent mistakes, genuine mistakes. I'm not sitting here like, do you know? But only we can undo them. And we don't undo them by preaching. We don't undo them by going out and telling people they're wrong. We undo them within ourselves. We untie our own knots because we are truly one. I know we appear as many, but we're one. So your contribution to the whole is to sort out yourself, what is appearing as you now, undoing all, let's say, loads of balls of like knotted wool. You can only undo your own. And then you can model that way of being. You can model that energy. And you know what? It's felt around you. It is felt around you. When people see someone living freely, when people see someone living joyfully, when people see someone living without guilt and without shame, it offers them the opportunity to do the same. If you can do it, then maybe so can I. And it seems like a leap of faith until it's done. And then you realize, God, faith implies a belief in something that you've got no proof for. But you always had to proof. Once you see it, once you feel it, you think, I always knew that was there. It was always in the back of my mind. This feeling was always suppressed by me in the pit of my stomach because I thought that it wasn't for me to feel joy all the time. It feels arrogant, and by the world's thinking, to assume that everything is for us, that we're to be joyful all the time. That feels arrogant somehow, when really the arrogance is just assuming as an ego character that we're not what we are. A complete denial of what we are. That's the arrogance. But do you know what? Who cares? Who cares? It's not a battle. It's not about proving something wrong or, like, I know better than you. It's not about any of that. But life has to be about joy. Because see, when you feel like you have enough to give. You're not living in lack and scarcity anymore. I have kindness to give. I have love to give. I have joy to give. I have patience to give. I have gentleness to give, because I know that at my core, that is all I'm made of. I could give and give and give and never run out. In fact, the more I give, as I've said, the more I feel like I have. So it's a rethinking of the way we've been programmed. It's a rethinking of all the things we thought to be true: the belief in scarcity, the belief in lack, the belief in not being good enough, the belief in the fact that there's just like a sense of, what's the point? Because I had that. It's the human condition. We all have that. What is the point? The point is love. The point is to come home. And you do that. You do that by realizing what you are, and by extension, what everybody else has to be. When I realized what I was, I knew it wasn't me alone. So now I can look at people. Don't get me wrong. I've said this a million times. You can come across really difficult people, difficult ego characters, but underneath all of that, they're the same as me. Because they can be nothing else. Nothing else exists. Does that mean that I choose to spend time with people who are playing out really obnoxious characters? Of course not. But it doesn't mean that I need to make them my enemy either. I've got a compassion for them. Jesus, you got a really tough character to play. Because Paul's character really wasn't. He was lighthearted. He was a bit of a fool, to be honest. But he wasn't difficult to play. So for that reason, I feel grateful. Some people have got these really, really heavy characters, these really, really heavy storylines. And I don't envy that. I don't envy that at all. At the same point, I don't need to put myself around it. But I can bless you. I can bless you. I can look at you and know what you are. Because by me remembering, I've remembered for everybody. I haven't just remembered for myself. This is not like an assault course. Do you know what I mean? Well, I'm okay now because I've reached the other side. Not at all. Not at all. Because while there's still people in the bondage of like their own making, they are me. Do you know what I mean? Just one aspect of what we are, as realized here. Different aspects of realized around the planet. But by waking up like that, by holding that frequency, that vibration, that energy, and by knowing what I've remembered for you too. I'm not leaving you behind. It's I don't know, it's a gift. It's my service. Do you know what I mean? So I make these videos, and it's funny, I'm probably just telling you the same information again and again, but just in different ways. But who cares? Who cares? Do you know, people reach out to me, and it is touching some people, and it's from really random places, like around the world, all of this. But we're living this same experience. We're living the exact same experience wherever we're from, wherever we're called, whatever our cultural backgrounds are, whatever shape or color we happen to be in just now. We're living this same experience. Our story is the same, and our endpoint has to be the same: to come home to love, to just remember. Remember, it's not learning something new, it's remembering what you've always been. So yeah, it's I know that this can sound a bit airy-fairy and a little bit good for you if you're in a heavy situation, if there's a lot of challenges around you. It's not to say that I don't still have my challenges. I do. I still live in the same world as you, but my perception of it is different. My perception of it is different, and we create the world around us. I know that as well seems like a big ask to believe, but we do. As soon as my perception changed, my 3D changed around me. As soon as I knew what I was, what I am was reflected back to me in my external. Okay, so I don't believe in sin, you know that. I don't believe in hell, it doesn't exist. I don't believe in karma, the way we've been told that, oh, you need to live another life to make up for this. I don't believe in that. But if karma is a reciprocal giving and taking at the same time, then that I can understand, because what we give, we receive. So when we attack, when we hold grievances, we're knocking ourselves up. When we give freely, we're enriching ourselves. Okay, so if you could try and put that into practice, I know it mightn't be easy all the time, but honestly, it's something that's been absolutely life-changing for me. And I like I say, I'm telling you this because I want things to be better for you as well. I want you to have this, because it's what's meant for you. It's what's meant for you right now. I had no spiritual background. I'd not listened to this. I'd not read a book. I'd not watched a video. I'd not been to a retreat. I didn't have a guru. I'd never chanted. I'd never prayed. And this happened for me. This happened for me because, to one way or another, I was asking a question which I never realized I was asking. And that was, what am I? And it's so funny to see it on this side of the fence now, because everything I ever did was just another way to ask that question. I didn't know. I thought I was making mistakes. I thought I was fucking up. I thought I was getting things wrong. I was screaming at the top of my voice, really, what am I? And I was answered. So just know that this is for you. Just know that you are loved. Just know that this isn't like some pie in the sky dream. This isn't something that needs to be earned. It isn't something that needs to be studied for. It isn't something that you need to go around another 10 times for. It's here for you now. It's here for you now. And it's not arrogant for you to say that. It's not arrogant for you to say, this is for me now. I claim what I am now. That's not arrogant. That's not arrogant, because that is just the truth. So I made this video on a different thing today. So I haven't watched it back, obviously, yet. So hopefully it's all okay and you can, like, I don't know, hear it and all that properly. I wanted to say another thing. If anybody's got any questions or anything that they would like to discuss in a video, or anything they would like me to discuss in a video, throw it in the comments. Because before I make these videos, I usually sit for 10 minutes with my eyes closed and I say, what will I say? What will I say? And then I start speaking. After, I don't have a plan. And sometimes that comes more easily than others. So if you have something that you think, I've always wondered about this, what do you think of something? Listen, I'm not the authority. I'm not the authority at all, but I can speak about it, So I love you. I love you. Have a great week. Bye.